Welcome to the first Phoenix housing market update of 2023. I'm your realtor, Jeremy, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the last year. We're going to talk about 2022, and we're also going to make, much to the chagrin of my brokers, some predictions for 2023. 2022 was quite the year. Started off with a bang, then went crazy in June, and then kind of settled a little bit. We start out the year with just the same we've seen for the last 2 years. Low, super low inventory, crazy high over askings. I had a listing in February that sold for $100,000 more than the asking price, like 25% more than the asking price. So yeah, that was crazy. And then June hit and we had this rush of inventory, just so much inventory. And I think a lot of it was sellers that were trying to time the market. But we had this rush of inventory, plus the increase of interest rates. All of a sudden the market went, what is going on? Literally between June and July, we added 3 times the inventory. It was absolutely bonkers. And then as interest rates continued to rise, it priced more and more buyers out of the market. But what it also did was it caused more sellers to not be willing to sell because they couldn't get the same kind of rate they had in their current house in their next house. So what we saw is that big spike of new inventory in June and July, and then it's been progressively dropping since then. We were in like the 22,000 range in all of the AR MLS system in the summer in June and July. And currently, like at the end of the year, we were around 17,000. So inventory definitely continued to back off. We're kind of at this point now at the end of 2022. Prices never tanked. They did drop a little bit from their peak. Overall, we're still higher than we were a year ago, but we are down about 6 or 7% from the peak, give or take a little bit depending on the area you're looking in. That's kind of how we ended the year, kind of with this like fizzled, like people I think hoping that prices would drop, but they didn't. But the inventory keeps going down, so that's gonna shore up like the price because buyers don't have as many options. We don't have as many buyers because interest rates are up, but interest rates are starting to come down a little bit, which could cause more buyers to come back into the market. But if we don't have more inventory, then prices could stabilize or go back higher. So we're at this equilibrium where if you like turn one of the dials, it moves the other ones in such a way that I don't foresee much of a price drop. Maybe we'll see another 4 or 5%, maybe even 7%. Over the next calendar year, but it really depends on what interest rates do. If we do find ourselves in a recession, they've been talking about it since the summer, but we haven't really seen a true recession take hold. If inflation comes back and interest rates go down a little bit, yeah, we just got all these factors that are just kind of playing with the market to kind of stabilize it. So I have a lot of folks that are asking, is now a good time to buy? And my answer is not market contingent. And that's the thing is like so many people get caught up, so many sellers got caught up trying to time the market. And I've even spoken to buyers now that are trying to time the market again. And most people that try to time the market, you either get lucky or you fail. And even experts who've been in the industry for forever, even they failed at timing the market because it's been very unpredictable. But back to that question of is now a good time to buy? My answer to that is not contingent on the market in any way, shape, or form. And that's because if your answer for is now a good time to buy is if that's contingent on the market, the moment the market changes, it's going to throw you in a mess. So I like to get buyers out of being tied to the market. If you answer 3 questions yes, then it is. So the first question is, can you afford to buy a house? So you look at interest rates, what your monthly payment is that monthly payment sustainable? Are you not being stretched too thin? Like there are some programs that will let you have a really high payment compared to what your income is. So you don't want to be house poor, you want to have a good payment that you can reasonably handle based off of your income. Is it affordable payment? Are you planning to be in that house for anywhere between 7 to 10 years? And are you able to find something in that price that you can afford in the area you want to be in? So if you can answer yes to all 3 of those questions, it's absolutely a good time to buy. Because if you can afford your payment, it kind of doesn't really matter what the pricing of the rest of the market does. You can afford your payment. I always give the example of my house. I've been in my house for 19 years now, and we have gone through two peaks. One in 2007 where it was worth $250,000, and then it dropped to being only worth $100,000. But then it came back up, and if I tried to sell today, I'd probably sell it for $425,000, $430,000, somewhere in that ballpark. But the fact of the matter is I could always afford my payment. So it never mattered that the market did all sorts of crazy things. Equity is this weird thing. It really doesn't exist until you try to use it. Second piece, 7 to 10 years. The reason I give that time frame is because for just about anybody that's ever bought a house, within 7 to 10 years, they almost always were back positive, no matter when they bought. Even if you bought at the peak of the market before the crash in 2007, at the highest values the homes had been, within about 7, 8 years, you were back positive again just across the board. That doesn't even count the 7 years of principal you paid down or anything else like that. And then the last one is finding the right home. Obviously, you don't want to buy a place if it's not in the area you want to be in. So that's why I say if you can answer those 3 questions, then it's absolutely a good time to buy. And you're not tied to what the market's doing. You're tied to what's happening for you. You can't control what the market does. None of us can. You look at factors that are within your control. And if your answer is yes to all those, it is a great time to buy. If your answer is no to any one of those 3, I'm going to encourage you not to buy. So, I hope that gives you some insight. As buyers, there's not a lot of competition out there right now. There's not a ton of inventory. I'm hoping and expecting, this is one of my predictions, I'm hoping and expecting some more seasonal trends to kind of start showing back up again. So my gut says we're probably going to see some inventory increases come March, April, especially if interest rates continue to back off. They were at their peak in October at over 7%. They've backed off from there. And should inflation continue to reduce and not be as crazy as it's been for the last year or two, we should see interest rates maybe tick back a bit. They're not going back down to our historic lows of 2s and 3s. That's just not happening. But we will see them tick back maybe a half, maybe 3/4%, which does make a big difference in affordability for home buyers. That's the first prediction. Second prediction, I don't think house prices are going to change a whole lot. I think we could potentially see up to a 7% decrease. However, I also see a couple scenarios where prices stay the same or even increase slightly. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on it. Speaking of keeping an eye on it, if you want to get these regular Phoenix housing market updates, not sure if I'm going to do them every 2 weeks or once a month, but subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified when a new video is released. On this channel, I'm doing luxury market reports. I'm doing the Phoenix housing market report because everybody that buys a home, it's the most expensive thing they've ever bought. Whether you're spending $350,000 on your first home in the Southeast Valley or you're spending $4 million on your second home in Paradise Valley. It's one of the biggest transactions you will ever have in your life, and I don't take that lightly, which is why I offer a luxury experience for all of my clients. So subscribe. Oh, and we got some cool luxury home tours lined up. There's one I'm working on lining up right now that's going to be real special. So do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. If you have any thoughts or questions or you have some of your own predictions of what you think might happen this year, go ahead and throw those in the comments below. And we will see you guys next time on the Phoenix Housing Market Update. Bye.